Welcome to Love Byte.
Hello and welcome to the Love Byte platform, where we share real stories in an interesting manner. Let's begin the story. I and my husband have been together for 5 years and married for 2 years. Our relationship always had ups and downs, but our fights have always been over the dumbest things ever. Him treating me disrespectfully and dismissively whenever he's upset has been a running theme. He kept saying that I should put up with it if I really love him, but my POV was that he shouldn't treat me like that, or at least apologize right after if he's too emotional to control his behavior momentarily. What happened usually is that he does something that hurts my feelings. I tell this to him, but he immediately gets defensive and starts sulking and keeps that going for days as if I was the one that hurt him. But I can't stand us being distant, so I usually end up doing the first move to patch things up, and after these issues pile up for a while I explode in the end, and that's how he realizes he's at fault and admits to it, which gives me hope about the future. The dumbest thing happened this weekend that almost got me to leave him for good. We went for a trip abroad with my sister and her husband, rented a cabin in the woods to enjoy the snowy scenes. On our last day in that destination, I was taking a shower while my sister and her husband went to town to get some breakfast, and my husband was packing our stuff upstairs. Right when I was shampooing my hair, the water went cold, so I called out for him to help, but I didn't exactly mention the reason for calling him since I didn't want to yell. After calling his name 3 times, he barges into the bathroom, screams at me for calling him all the time for stupid reasons while I'm trembling from cold and unable to open my eyes from the shampoo. I was literally flabbergasted, but really needed help, so tried to stay calm and asked him to help me first, and then we can fight if he wants. He keeps screaming at me, he throws himself to the ground and hits the floor repeatedly. He comes at me as if he was going to hit me, but directs his anger towards the shower curtain and brings it down, then leaves the bathroom, hitting the door on his way outside, creating a dent. I end up rinsing my hair with cold water, crying my eyes out. The rest of the trip, I don't talk to him unless I had to. We were driving on some rocky roads, so he gets car sickness. I still try to help him feel better. Found a drug store to get some medicine and bought snacks and drinks that help with car sickness. When I offer him these helps, he refuses as if he doesn't want anything from me. Since I don't get to see my sister often, I still managed to enjoy my time with her and kept them out of our fight, and I think that made him even madder since I wasn't bitter like him. On our way back home, they luckily gave us separate seats during check-in. As soon as we said goodbye to my sister and Bill, I completely ignored him and he did the same. I had no interest to solve things this time. I rushed my way towards the buses after we got off the plane. Didn't see him at all. He called me when I got on the bus. I didn't answer, so he texts asking me where I am. I said I was taking the bus and was gonna see him at home. He sends angry texts saying things like, "Get off the bus right now, why are you doing this to me," etc. I just replied with, "No, I don't want to share a car ride with you and I'll see you at home." He keeps sending angry texts swearing at me. Then he said what I was doing meant that we weren't going to live together anymore and I should find a place to myself. The house we live in belongs to his parents, and I really didn't want to fight anymore, and I said okay, I'll stay somewhere else after picking up my stuff. I also didn't take my keys with me while we were leaving for the trip, so I was either going to go home while he's there or get the spare keys from his parents' place not far away from ours. Then he texts me saying I should get the spare keys cause he's going to the hospital cause his stomach isn't in good shape. He blames me for being a crappy wife and letting him go to the hospital alone. I wasn't going to take it anymore, so I called his best friend to tell him to check up on him cause I wasn't going to anymore. I get the spare keys from his mom, but didn't tell her about our fight. She still got suspicious from me going there alone and calls him, and he told her that we were separating, leaves the family group chats and all. I got home and packed a few days of clothes. Then he called me with a completely different tone this time. He asked me to wait for him to get back before I leave so we can talk one last time. I didn't want to be alone with him, so I said I'll come to the hospital instead. I checked in with the doctors to find out if he's actually sick. It turns out he has a very mild infection and that's it, so I decide to leave, but he sees me and stops me to say how sorry he is for everything. I said, I'm sorry you're saying this just now, after spending 3 days treating me like shit as if I was the one that wronged you, and on top of it drag all our families into our fight and threatening me with divorce and go to my friend's place. He sent me a few texts explaining how sorry he is and he is aware of everything that he had done. I didn't have to explain anything to him this time, and he looked like he gained a new awareness about his behavior and his reasons. He begged me to go back home. I talked to my mom about the whole thing and she said to give him another chance. I was to have a rough week at work with lots of things to do, so I was convinced to at least stay at my house. I went home and found him crying. He hugged me and gave a speech about how he was the only one to blame the whole time, how he got these bad habits from his terrible dad, etc., and how much he loved me, and me putting up with all his crap for years was admirable and he wasn't going to deny that but won't put me through it again. He promised to make up for it and plan and pay for another trip with my sister. I really want to believe him, I love him with all my heart, but the things he did weren't actually acceptable. I'm to blame for letting things go so easily just to keep our relationship together. We had a similar fight 3 years ago and I had to leave him, and only after that he apologized and said similar things. I forgave him then, but he still kept pulling crap like this from time to time, not this extreme. Now he looks really regretful and sincere and does all the right things, treats me really nice. But I feel like this good state of him will fade away and we'll go back to where we were, and I'm wasting both our times by staying with him. I asked him to find a couples therapy for us and a private therapist for him. I'm already in therapy for a while, but he didn't want to go, and he agreed. I think I'll wait and see, but the hope I have left is very dim and pathetic at this point. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you have enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing for more content.